People deluded, I'm back again. One love for tuning in. Now, allegedly, Mikel Arteta has spoken ahead of the Liverpool game in relation to potentially any other additional Arsenal transfer dealings we have. We know we've crossed the line with Calafiori. Make sure you're checking out my Calafiori analysis vids. Allegedly, Smith-Rowe is about to have his medical for Fulham. We've been linked with Leroy Sané, Mikel Merino, and Gyokeres once again. There's some stuff in relation to Nico Williams and probably a bunch of other tabs that I haven't actually spoken about just now. So get comfortable, smash the like button, get those creative juices flowing, turn on your notification bells, and give me 2 seconds to share my screen, and we'll get straight into everything that concerns us as usual. And I said again, because it might be overstated, I can't imagine, but big up you lot for your consistent support. Now, Mikel Arteta, ahead of our final game of the US tour of our preseason preparations, before we come back to obviously England and Declan Rice, Bukayo Saka, Aaron Ramsdale join up with the boys, he has spoken about potential transfer dealings. Of course, he's happy with Calafiori signing, but again, we need depth. You go back to, March, April times, Mikel Arteta said we've got one of the smallest squads, which for a team that definitely wants to aspire to win the Premier League, for me, I'd rather win the champs than the Prem, but the champs is a pipe dream. The Premier League is a very difficult task where City's concerned. I think every Arsenal fan, if we end next season with an FA Cup or League Cup, fans won't necessarily be happy, but we want to compete and go as far as we can. It's not sustainable with, let's be honest, anything from 12 to 14 players that truly are trusted. Normally, I say if you just assume Trossard's on the bench and there's 11 out there, they're the ones that are really trusted. We need a bigger squad. We need strength in depth. We need competition. We need to keep pushing greatness, really and truly. He said, I'm very happy. It took a while. It was a player that we have monitored for a year. So again, the Euros probably just served as further confirmation off the back of what he's done at Bologna and the research we've probably done across his time at, even Genoa on loan, Roma initially, and obviously at Basel. We need that. We were really short in the back line last year in terms of numbers, and we demanded so much from them. William Saliba, for example, played every minute of the Premier League, and we believe he had to be more protected. We identified him as a talent that can give us skill and qualities that are going to make us better. We're signing a player with a huge capacity to develop. Obviously, he's 22. He's not the finished article, but he is quite good. And, in the last 2 seasons, there's got to be a correlation with, how large, it's not just down to it, but the season before the one that's just gone, Saliba missed out of the running towards the end of the campaign. We was in trouble. Saliba played every minute respectfully to, I don't want to diss anyone, but, if you could rest Benjamin White and William Saliba against, teams that, while football isn't one on paper, you need to go out and do the job. The promoted sides at the Emirates, we should be handling business, essentially. It'd be nice to do that. On whether he'll play as a centre-back or left-back, statistically, he's played the majority of his games at left-back. You'd imagine he's more of an option at left-back, but he can play as a centre-half. And we've got several potential centre-half pairings. Obviously, Saliba and Gabriel is the most seasoned one we've got. Then you'd probably say Benjamin White and Gabriel, because that was our pairing for a while. Then you've got the option of Timber or Tomiyasu playing on the left or right. Saliba could move over to the left-hand side to accommodate someone, or you could see Calafiori and Saliba. Or who knows, even 2 left-footed centre-backs, which many people aren't keen on. I think players will get rested, but I don't think there'll be too much chopping and changing with the centre halves, if I'm honest with you. Potentially, it will be the case at fullback. Both positions, especially the way we want to play and the way we want to evolve in our game models, he is a player who's going to fit into what we want. And that's amazing because, obviously, beyond the obvious of what affected us on that left-hand side, I genuinely, not having a consistent partner for Declan Rice and, not really identifying someone that suitably replaces Granit Xhaka. I think Gabriel at times, whether it's been Kivior, who's had to played more of a traditional left back and kind of not harmed us, but you're relying a bit more on Benjamin White to invert, or when he's playing with Zinchenko, it's almost like Gabriel's having to do his own job and kind of look out for Zinchenko in those wide areas. Calafiori is definitely a lot more solid there, so there could be a bit of tweaking, and maybe Gabriel will even gamble on the ball a bit more. Let me know if you want to see a video on that, because I'm actually getting the creative juices flowing. On our transfer business so far, I'm very happy that we got the Ricardo one done. As I said, it was very important to have that protection in the back line because of the issues we had, especially last year when Timber was injured. It increases the quality and competition, and it's very good for our team. Again, injuries can strike at any point. Benjamin White has not been injured and been playing with injuries, but God forbid we can maneuver in that regard. If anything happens to Gabriel or Saliba again, we've got protection there. Tomiyasu and Zinchenko, more Tomiyasu to be fair, as much as we love him, they do pick up frequent knocks. I don't think anyone can disagree with what the gaffer has said here. On potentially Smith-Rowe departing, which we know is close, he said, I cannot talk about things that haven't yet been done. Firmly learnt from Arsene Wenger in that regards, people. On positions potentially to strengthen next, he said, we have to wait and see the movements in the market. We already identified things that we can improve. We have meetings every March or April, and if we can, we will try and strengthen the team. I believe we can get better, but so far I'm really happy with what we had. So he's kept his cards close to his chest. If he's had a meeting in April, March, they know they need to address central midfield, obviously left back, or they wouldn't have brought someone in. We tried to get Sesko, that didn't happen, so we could, maybe a striker is there. And I think I speak for every Arsenal fan, where whether it's Nico Williams, Pedro Neto, let me know which one you'd prefer. We'd all love to see another wide man if a striker can't arrive. You know, I hope Gabriel Jesus gets back to great form. We hope Kai Havertz continues. We know we're going to score goals, but Saka at this moment in time on the 30th of July is the only one that I would genuinely be surprised if you don't get a handsome goal and assist return in all comps, actually the Premier League as well. So he's played his cards close to his chest. He's not going to say anything, is he, in that regard? He obviously spoke about persuading Calafiori to join, but I think the last bit of crucial stuff here is said it was the numbers when asked on another defender, which many people say, why are we signing another defender? We only had 6 defenders in the back line, and at this level, you have to be really lucky to sustain a season like this. We were, because William, for example, and Gabriel nearly played every minute. We played more than 50% more minutes than the previous season, and if we're able to do that consistently over the next 3 or 4 years, that's a big question mark. Obviously, you cannot just bet on that. That's a big bet, and we don't want to take that bet. That just tells me we want to bet on everybody being fit, but we can maneuver if there is injury. So that's what I want to hear, people. Moving away from that, apparently Barcelona now believe Nico Williams is more inclined towards staying at Athletic Club for one more season, which you can't be against that. He's still linked with Arsenal, Barcelona, Paris Saint-Germain, and he's got a big contract at Bilbao. You cannot downplay that. Some rhetoric that's coming out, and it makes me believe Barcelona are closer to committing him, is that, you know, they're kind of, the papers are kind of saying like the strong arm approach, like, you know, I think one even said the Barcelona train doesn't wait for anyone, so either you want to do this now or not. And there's a lot to consider. I mean, he's going to be on big wages. I mean, he deserves it if he puts in performances like he did during the Euros. Apparently, Barcelona are seeking help from Nike. Nike could push for the signing of Nico Williams to Barcelona. They understand that his signing would bring a lot of revenue. Fair enough, people. Again, we've spoken about Calafiori. You know, Calafiori said, my bags are packed, when you're ready, get a deal done, essentially. Moving away from that, players that won't be at the club for next season. Smith-Rowe will undergo a medical at Fulham in the next 24 hours ahead of his 34 million move from Arsenal. Fulham will pay 27 million spread across 4 years, plus a further 7 million add-ons, representing a club record fee. So he's been capped by the club, won a couple of trophies, played over 100 odd times, wore the number 10, fan favorite. You can leave with your head held high. We all know this isn't the way he wants to leave, but it is what it is at this moment. We all know he's played no part where the games are concerned during the American leg. You know, was on the bench, didn't play against Bournemouth as this story emerged, wasn't in the squad completely against Manchester United. So yeah, there's even rumours that he's actually left the United States, as you can see here, to complete his medical. Fulham plan to fly him to Portugal to join the squad on their pre-season campaign. He could make his debut as early as Friday when they face Benfica before playing Sevilla next Monday. Big him up, people. He's also had interest from Crystal Palace that hasn't come to anything. We all know the lack of minutes he played, people. So yeah, man, Fulham take care of our boy. But where Arsenal and Smith-Rowe are concerned, he's made his own bit of history, but that's where it is, you know, history. The past is in your head, the future is in your hands. So hopefully he can stay fit, show the quality. And while I don't necessarily care, I want him to play to the point where us fans and the media were saying, why did we let him go? Go and do your thing. In relation to Mikel Merino, who, as we've got the Calafiori deal over the line, we don't work for Arsenal, we're just fans. But you would imagine primarily where our rumours are concerned, like tangible rumours, Merino will be the one that kind of follows with Calafiori. You'll probably see a bunch of videos from me with him in the title and him in the thumbnails. Shout out to the editor. Mikel Merino has a proposal from Arsenal. Merino's future is still open, with the player aiming for a departure from Sociedad this summer. Been tentatively linked with Chelsea, been linked with Atletico Madrid, as well as Arsenal and Barcelona. There's rumours that, you know, Sociedad want to give him a new deal. As we know, the 28-year-old has a year left on his contract, people. So, you know, at 28, you're not old, but you're not young either. You kind of want to seize the present. So I'm sure he wants an important project, an important contract, and hopefully his fellow countryman Mikel Arteta can help him. I know he's not a sexy signing. He's not someone like last summer we signed Declan Rice. It's amazing and whatnot. But if you can't be a ceiling raiser, you can help raise the floor in. And I think he's competent in his role. I think he's durable. I think he'll be a good player for us, really and truly. Be interesting to see if he plays on the left and the right, and obviously the knock-on effect that has for Declan Rice. But if you've got Merino, Partey, Declan Rice, Odegaard, and obviously Jorginho about, I would love two midfielders, but we can maneuver with that, in my humble opinion, people. Mikel Arteta would like to add a central midfielder, people, with Mikel Merino among his targets. However, no headway has yet been made in negotiations with Real Sociedad amid interest from several clubs. Merino also has an offer to renew his contract at Sociedad, says Gunner Blog. Now, I'm sure there's a lot to consider. I'm sure there's a lot of projects. I'm sure, you know, part of him probably wants to leave and stay at Sociedad. I don't know, you know, how long he's been given time off by Sociedad, but you'd imagine his holiday, you know, his post-Euros holiday is coming to an end. So it's now time to sort out your future. And the only real losers here are Sociedad. You might keep him for a year and he leaves for free. Obviously, Arsenal would have to move on to another target. You would imagine there's several targets. It would be stupid to only have him as the number one. Gunner Blog has said, you know, and the Athletic that, you know, we'd love to add a central midfielder. No headway has been made. Apparently, the Sociedad president has said he has an offer to renew for over a year. And if he has not renewed yet, it is because he does not want to mislead the Sociedad fans, which speaks well of him. I'd like him not to leave. We all would. If he tells us he accepts another offer on the table and wants us to negotiate, we will. We know he has some and what they are, but we still hope Mikel will stay at Sociedad. If not, we'll negotiate the best outcome for La Real, which is Sociedad. So again, that could tell you personal terms or have indirectly been agreed with Arsenal Moreno. That could tell you indirectly whether it's Edu or Arteta they're having talks. But crucially, you know, getting a bid accepted by Sociedad hasn't been done, and it doesn't appear based on that. You know, what they tell us in the public, what's going on in private, two different things, but that tells you that he hasn't exactly come forth with what he wants to do, whether that is staying or leaving. We all know Emil Smith-Rowe is departing. Nobody cares about what Chelsea are doing in the market, people. Arsenal are seeking to iron out a problem in Smith-Rowe's move. Again, we've covered this before, but long story short, it said the quicker Smith-Rowe leaves, the quicker we can accelerate Mikel Merino and whatnot, people. So we'll have to see exactly what's going to go on there. We've heard discussions are going on with him and also Fabian Ruiz. I don't know how true the Fabian Ruiz ones are, because it seems like there's not real any tangible proof beyond the obvious. And again, he's been offered a new contract, but we don't know exactly what's going to happen there. So we've gone over that. And one thing I like about him is his durability. He played in 45 games across all comps last season. You know, Odegaard plays a lot of games. I think he had a hip injury and a concussion. Fair play. You know, Declan Rice, touch wood, pause. That's never a case, but he's fairly durable. Thomas Partey is the furthest thing from that. I personally think we had to play Jorginho a lot more than we would have wanted to. No disrespect to him. So yeah, I think it would be a shrewd addition that could help us. I don't think it's an amazing signing, but in many ways it could be, people. And I don't get it twisted, you know, who wouldn't want name brand players? We want to wake up and do the Real Madrid thing. You got Vinicius and Mbappe, all the, you know, we'll be here all day talking about their midfielders, but we're not there yet, and those players aren't really available. It doesn't feel like there's blockbuster signings out there to raise the ceiling immediately, but you grab a couple of those, indirectly the level has been raised because of the flooring. So we'll have to see, man. Calafiori said, I want to win trophies at Arsenal. Big him up for that one, people. Arsenal, Chelsea and Barcelona could have to move on from any attempt to sign Nico Williams this summer, according to reports, people. Apparently, this could say that he wants to stay, essentially. But again, I'll be real with you. Look, the Nico Williams stuff is getting boring. We'll get on to Gyokeres in just a second, but he's still linked with us, people. Again, Fabrizio Romano has spoken about Merino. According to reports, Arsenal expected to step up their interest in Spain and Sociedad midfielder in the coming days. I want to see specifically what he has said, people. He said, we know that Moreno is a player they like. The club had identified him as a target before the Euros, and his brief performances for Spain and Germany only confirm that he's a player who could make an impact in the Premier League. There's believed to be rival interest in Moreno from clubs in Spain, as he's expected to be available at a good price due to his contract status at Sociedad. But I do think Arsenal will step up their interest in the 28-year-old, having finally secured the signing of Calafiori. There have been links to other midfielders. I've seen Fabian Ruiz mentioned recently. That's not one I've heard anything on myself, but he's a fine player, of course. I still think Moreno is the main target, and he would be a fine addition. He would add versatility, which is so important to any signing who comes in under Mikel Arteta. Physically, he looks well suited to the Premier League, along with Calafiori. Looks like he could bolster Arsenal's left-sided options, apologies, for the new season, which I'm all for, people, because, you know, that would mean We've got some stability on the left-hand side. Moreno's going to be ever present if Partey isn't fit and isn't the first choice, or, he's not the better option. And then obviously you've got Calafiori and a fit Timber. I do think you will see a better Trossard and definitely a better Martinelli on that. And then indirectly, we know our right-hand side is quite good, regardless of who's out there. Primarily Saka, Benjamin White, Odegaard peeling over there. Sorry, not Bukayo Saka, William Saliba, and you add Declan Rice to that mix, we're cooking really and truly. So, yeah, moving away from that, we've gone over that. You could, at this point, we'll be saying the same things about Moreno. We've been linked with Leroy Sané. Allegedly, Arsenal are monitoring Leroy Sané ahead of a potential transfer, according to reports. I don't believe it. One, his contract is running down. Two, he simply just plays in an area that we obviously would like to address as a football club. So I'm not too sure on the belief of that. Obviously, him and Mikel Arteta have worked together previously. I'm not too sure on that, people, if I'm completely honest. He's got a year left on his deal, the 28-year-old. Allegedly, we're keeping close eyes on developments. Would you not take him for what it's worth? Because they spent 55 million on him, unless they have an assurance or some general belief that if he stayed at the club in the transfer market, that they could get him to renew a deal. Surely you could get him for less than that, which could be a shrewd addition for someone that has played in the Premier League and would give us great options. Declan Rice is set to return to training, people, when we get back from the American leg, people. Allegedly, he's been in Dubai training as well, people. And you've actually seen on Bukayo Saka's Instagram, he's doing the same. You'd imagine David Raya and William Saliba are also doing such, people. We were linked with Julian Alvarez. Personally, I don't believe it. We all know he's spoken about his future and he's weighing up his options. Apparently, Arsenal and Chelsea are both interested in him. And apparently he's turned down a new contract offer for himself at Manchester City. Pep Guardiola, one thing I admire about him is if you want to leave, innit, essentially, kind of thing. He said, I read that he's going to think about it. Okay, think about it. Then he will inform us what he wants to do. Julian played a lot. He wants more. It's fine. That's why he wants to think about it. And then when he thinks about it, he'll inform us. Apparently, the 24-year-old said, I haven't stopped to think about what I'm going to do. Last season, I was one of the players who played the most minutes in the team. But it's true, in the end, in some important games, it's not pleasant to be left out. I have time to consider my decision. I haven't stopped to think things through calmly. Once the Olympic Games are over, I'll take time to reflect on what I want for myself. Maybe it's annoying to be out in the big games. Players always want to help on the pitch. Fair enough. And to be fair with you, you are a valued member of Argentina and obviously Manchester City. But, and while he can play in a number of roles in the attacking line, they've got Haaland, mate. They've got Haaland. He's always going to be the number one. I think Haaland's a better striker. He will score more goals. But with the general play and all that kind of crap, Alvarez is better than him. I would have Alvarez at the Emirates for what it's worth. Can't see it. Would any of you take Wahi from Lens? He did bag against us, people. Apparently Chelsea, West Ham and Leicester are all looking at him. Could that be a versatile attacker for Arsenal to have a look at? In relation to Aaron Ramsdale, apparently Arsenal have set a 30 million asking price for Ramsdale. As things stand, it's understood that although Nottingham Forest and Southampton are interested, they're not willing to pay 30 million. It remains to be seen if Arsenal end up lowering their demands. We can't make a loss on Ramsdale. So would it be fair to assume, people, if anything, Aaron Ramsdale will leave on loan, or maybe clubs, we'll get him at a discount if Aaron Ramsdale kind of, he's an elite professional in terms of how he carries himself, but he probably will have to put pressure on Arsenal to let him leave. We were at the early days in the summer linked with Joshua Kimmich. Apparently PSG have contacted him. Bayern Munich are open to a sale. Again, his contract's running down. Not really anything to do with Arsenal. I can't say his name, but Scruton, we all saw it during the Euros. The two Dutch midfielders done well. Could that be someone Arsenal has a look at? I don't think we'll do it for 60 million euros, but just in terms of a talking point. We have this week aggressively been linked with Rafinha, and you'd imagine him and several others are players that could potentially leave to facilitate Nico Williams. Rafinha is really, really pushing to stay at Barcelona for at least one more year. He believes he can do great things this season, so put that one to bed. Allegedly, Arsenal still holding interest in Morgan Gibbs-White. Respectfully to Ollie Price-Bates, I don't know if he does or doesn't know what he's talking about, but fair play there, lad. Chido Obi Martin has announced he's formally departing from Arsenal. Do your thing now. We can stop talking about him. Allegedly, Arsenal were willing to offer him 15 grand a week for his first pro deal. United have doubled that to 30 grand. Earning 30 grand a week at 17 is great, really. And, there's no guarantee you're going to make it at Manchester United. I genuinely wish him all the best, really and truly in that regards. Do your thing, man. He's a very talented player with a bright future. Do what you're doing. Granit Xhaka did us a bit dirty here, isn't it, people? I don't think he's wrong, but he said the move from Arsenal to Leverkusen was not a step back, but rather 2 steps forward. We have to do better than last season. Now, I mean, they could have won the treble. I swear they won the Prem and another trophy. They were invincible. What can you really say? We, for as good as Arsenal are, we're moving forward. You can't say, that his move wasn't backed up. He won something. So fair enough, man. If I was Arteta, I'd block your number on WhatsApp, if I'm honest, though. Big up El Nene. Apparently, he has signed for El Jazer club after leaving Arsenal as a free agent. So, yeah, wish you all the best in that regards, El Nene. We know we're not getting Yusuf Fofana, but some people would have him at Arsenal. The director of AS Monaco has said, I have a good relationship with Fofana. We have been clear on the price needed since day one. The proposal has to be good for Fofana, but also for AS Monaco. Otherwise, also staying here would be a possibility. Could leave on a free. Been linked with AC Milan. Was linked with Arsenal. It seems like those have gone quiet, people. In relation to Gyokeres, allegedly, this website is saying they expect Arsenal to launch a bid of 52 million, which equates to about 60 million euros for Gyokeres. As we know, he has 100 million euros, a release clause, which equates to about 84 to 90 million. Apparently, Arsenal have no intention of activating his release clause. So the fact that Sporting are open to club negotiations is obviously happy for us. We'll have to see. Again, the striker market is rubbish. He had a great season where he scored a bunch of goals. Sporting are not going to let him go lightly. Apparently, Liverpool are actually not in talks for him. He has been linked with Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, Atletico, as well as Liverpool. I would love a striker. I mean, a man got 43 goals and 15 assists in 50 outings. I would just love a striker who's got 20 league goals in him. Imagine if we got that. We got Kai Havertz doing his thing. You got Gabriel Jesus, Martinelli, Trossard, Bukayo Saka doing what they're doing, and everyone else around the squad. In my opinion, we're laughing. And what could actually help negotiations, people, is apparently Coventry City's percentage for Gyokeres in terms of his sell-on clause has been lowered, because I believe Sporting Lisbon have actually paid something. Apparently, that percentage has just been reduced according to various reports in Portugal, and any official release and any official Sporting release to the financial markets records state the amount Coventry City will get from any sale profit has reduced from 15% to 10%. Now, maybe that's just business because they know they will sell him one day. Maybe that means Gyokeres is going to leave clubs and they're going to make their profit, and they'd rather pay you what you're due and try and get as much as they can for the 26-year-old. People have to see. So yeah, in relation to Gyokeres, Sane, Kimmich, Wahi, Fofana, Merino, indirectly Calafiori, Smith-Rowe, that's everything I've got. You can rest assured if there's any other news and talking points, I always bring out the videos and live streams. As usual, big up you lot for listening. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit the comment section. Check out the description, people. We've got until the 5th of August to get all our votes in for that award. So yeah, man, check out the rest of the content. Big up you lot, people. Don't forget, midnight, technically Thursday morning for those of you in the United Kingdom, we will be watching Arsenal Liverpool together. So yeah, you lot stay safe, stay blessed. Peace.